you ever found yourself constantly questioning where you stand with someone? One moment, he's all in, sending sweet texts, making you feel special. And the next, he's distant, confusing, and leaving you wondering what went wrong. If that's happening, you're not crazy. You're picking up on inconsistency, and today we're going to talk about exactly how to handle a guy who plays games with you. First, understand this. When a man is serious about you, he doesn't leave you confused. Consistency is the hallmark of genuine interest. So if you're feeling like you're constantly guessing, trust that feeling. It's not your job to be a detective, it's your job to protect your heart. Second, you have to refuse to enter the game. The minute you feel him pulling away or acting hot and cold, don't. React by chasing him. Don't send that second, third, or fourth text asking what's wrong. Don't overanalyze his behavior, trying to crack some hidden code. Instead, match his energy with distance and focus your attention back on yourself. People who play games thrive on attention and confusion. When you take away the attention and stay calm, you take away their power. You send the message, I'm not someone who sticks around for uncertainty. That message is powerful because it shows you value yourself. Next, set clear boundaries. It's easy to be afraid that if you lay down standards, you'll scare someone off. But the truth is, the right person will be attracted to your standards, not intimidated by them. Tell him through your actions that you don't tolerate flaky communication, disrespect, or emotional roller coasters. If he truly cares, he will rise to meet your standards. If he doesn't, he will leave and you'll be better off. Because every time you stick to your standards, you teach the world how to treat you. You remind yourself of your own worth. Finally, shift your focus back to you. When someone plays games, it's easy to make it all about them. What did I do wrong? How can I get him back? No, but those questions lead nowhere. A better question is, am I living a life that makes me happy with or without him? Work on becoming the person you're proud of. Fill your life with friends, passions, experiences, and goals that light you up, because the more complete and happy you feel on your own, the less you'll tolerate anyone who brings chaos into your world. A guy who plays games isn't a puzzle you need to solve. He's a signal. A sign pointing you back toward your standards, your boundaries, and your happiness. So the next time you notice mixed signals or confusing behavior, take it for what it is. Don't chase. Don't play along. Hold your head high, walk away if you need to, and remember, you are the prize. Anyone who wants to be in your life must act like it. You don't have to earn someone's consistency. It's the bare minimum. I don't deserve nothing less. When you meet someone new and start to develop feelings, it's natural to be excited, hopeful, and maybe even a little nervous. You want to believe the best about this person. You want to trust that their intentions are as good as yours. But sometimes in that haze of excitement, we miss the subtle red flags waving right in front of us. We excuse behaviors that don't feel quite right. We explain away the confusion. We tell ourselves, maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe he's just busy. Yet deep down, there's a voice whispering that something isn't adding up. Learning to recognize the signs early when a guy is playing games with you isn't about being cynical or negative. It's about being connected to your instincts and respecting yourself enough to listen to them. One of the first signs to look out for is inconsistency. When a guy is genuinely interested, he wants to make you feel secure. He communicates in a way that makes you feel certain of his intentions. He doesn't leave you guessing after a great date. He doesn't disappear for days and then come back with a charming text like nothing happened. If you find yourself on a roller coaster, where one week you feel like a queen and the next week you feel invisible, pay attention. That's not passion, that's inconsistency. And it's often the first symptom of someone who's not serious or someone who enjoys keeping you on edge. Another major sign is mixed signals. Maybe he says all the right things, but his actions don't match up. He talks about the future, but makes no real effort to include you in his life. He compliments you, calls you amazing, but somehow never prioritizes you. When a man's words and actions are out of alignment, it's not because he's confused. It's because he's keeping his options open while still keeping you hooked. Mixed signals are not something you need to decode. They are themselves the message. I'm not all in. It's also important to notice how you feel around him. Your feelings are data. If you constantly feel anxious, uncertain, or insecure, that's information. It doesn't mean you're needy or that you need to be more chill. It means the connection is lacking, the safety and consistency that a healthy relationship requires. Love shouldn't feel like constant emotional labor. You shouldn't be strategizing about how to get his attention. If you're working harder to feel secure than he is to make you feel secure, that's a huge red flag. Another subtle sign that a guy might be playing games is if he creates drama or emotional confusion without real cause. One day he might pull you in close, share something vulnerable, make you feel like you're finally getting somewhere. The next day, he might become distant, cold, or critical for no clear reason. This push-pull dynamic is addictive. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. It's designed, whether consciously or not, to make you crave the high of his affection and to blame yourself for the lows. This emotional whiplash isn't love. It's manipulation. Sometimes the signs are even more obvious, but we still struggle to accept them. He cancels plans at the last minute without a real apology. He disappears from communication without explanation. He's always just a little too busy, a little too distracted, a little too unavailable. Maybe he flirts with other women in front of you, brushes it off when you bring it up, or tells you you're being too sensitive. You deserve to be with someone who makes you feel chosen, not someone who makes you fight for scraps of attention. Recognizing these signs early doesn't mean you have to be harsh, angry, or confrontational. It simply means you need to be honest with yourself first. It means seeing things clearly instead of seeing them the way you wish they were. It's understanding that when someone shows you who they are through inconsistency, confusion, or emotional games, it's not your job to fix them, save them, or win them over. It's your job to protect your heart and your peace. The sooner you recognize the signs, the sooner you can save yourself time, energy, and heartache. You can walk away before you get too deeply invested in someone who isn't treating you the way you deserve. You can create space for someone who actually shows up, who communicates clearly, who matches their words with their actions. When you honor your instincts and pay attention to the early red flags, you take your power back. You stop playing someone else's game. And you start living by your own rules. Rules rooted in self-respect, high standards, and unwavering self-love. When someone starts playing games with you, it's tempting to think that the solution is to outplay them. Maybe, if you respond the right way, pull back at the right time, say exactly the right thing, you'll win. You'll make them realize what they're missing, you'll get them to step up. But here's the truth that most people don't tell you. The moment you start playing along, you've already lost. Because by engaging in the game, you're accepting its rules. And the rules of that game are designed to keep you insecure, uncertain, and chasing approval. That's not where love grows. That's where your self-esteem goes to die. When you sense someone pulling away or giving you mixed signals, the strongest thing you can do isn't to chase or match their unpredictability, it's to step back and refuse to participate. Let their inconsistency be their problem, not yours. You are not here to prove your worth to anyone. You are not here to fight for a position in someone's life. Healthy, real connection doesn't require strategy. It requires two people who are both willing to show up, communicate, and invest. If one person is playing games, there is no partnership. There's just you trying to make something one-sided work, and that is exhausting. It's so easy to fall into the trap of overthinking when someone you like starts being hot and cold. You replay conversations in your head, you wonder if you said something wrong, you ask friends for advice, you analyze texts word by word. You might even convince yourself that if you just stay a little longer, show a little more understanding, or be a little more patient, he'll come around. But the truth is, your energy shouldn't be spent decoding someone. If a man is interested, you'll know it clearly. If you have to wonder where you stand, you already have your answer. Refusing to play along means you have to be willing to walk away when necessary. That's the part that scares people the most. It feels counterintuitive. You think, if I leave, won't that guarantee I lose him? But the reality is, you're not losing anything that was real to begin with. You're simply choosing to lose the illusion. You're choosing yourself over confusion. And that choice is powerful. That choice says, I don't chase people. I don't fight for clarity. He attracts people who naturally want to be here. A guy who plays games thrives on attention, on keeping you slightly off balance, on knowing that you're invested enough to stick around even when he's inconsistent. The moment you stop giving energy to that dynamic, you shift the power back into your own hands. You stop being someone's option and start being your own priority. Walking away doesn't always mean physically disappearing, although sometimes it does. It can also mean emotionally detaching. It means you stop reacting to his breadcrumbs. You stop prioritizing his mixed signals. You stop making excuses for him and start focusing on what you need to be happy and fulfilled. Some people fear that by not playing along, they will come off as cold or heartless. But honoring your standards isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's kindness to yourself. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, by what you entertain, and by what you walk away from. If you engage with someone's games, you silently teach them that it's okay to treat you carelessly. But when you calmly, confidently remove yourself from the equation, you send the message that your time, your energy, and your heart are valuable, and that they're not available to anyone who doesn't treat them with the respect they deserve. Don't try to make a man see your worth by staying longer in a confusing situation. Your worth isn't proven by your loyalty to someone who doesn't value it. It's proven by your willingness to say, this isn't good enough for me, and moving forward without bitterness, without resentment, just a quiet, powerful knowing that you deserve better. At the end of the day, love isn't a prize you win by playing better. Real love doesn't require games. It doesn't make you guess. It doesn't make you feel like you're in constant competition for affection. The right connection will feel steady, not shaky. It will bring you peace, not anxiety, and it will never ask you to abandon your self-respect just to keep it alive. Choosing not to play along is one of the most courageous acts of self-love you can make. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it, because when you stop participating in the games, you create space for something far more beautiful. A connection built on mutual respect, clarity, and the kind of love that doesn't need to be earned. It's freely given. Setting clear boundaries is not about building walls around yourself or pushing people away. It's about creating a healthy space where respect, trust, and love can actually grow. When someone plays games with you, it becomes even more important to know where you stand and to communicate that without apology. It's easy to think that setting boundaries will scare someone off or make you seem too much. But the right person isn't intimidated by your standards. They're inspired by them. And the ones who are scared off, those are the ones who were never going to show up the way you deserved anyway. When you don't set clear boundaries, you leave the door wide open for confusion, disrespect, and emotional chaos. You give someone permission, even if unintentionally, to treat you however they feel like in the moment. One day they're attentive, the next they're distant, and because you haven't drawn a line, you end up accepting it. You hope that if you're patient enough, understanding enough, they'll eventually meet your needs without you having to say anything. But people aren't mind readers, and even the best ones will test limits. If you don't define your boundaries, someone else will define them for you. And it usually won't be in a way that honors your worth. Boundaries are not about controlling another person's behavior. They are about protecting your own peace and happiness. They say, this is what I accept, this is what I don't. They create a clear guide for how someone can be in your life. And if someone chooses not to respect that, you also have clarity about what to do next. You don't have to fight, beg, or plead for better treatment. You simply step away because your standards aren't negotiable for the right person. They're a basic requirement. One of the most powerful ways to set boundaries is through your actions, not your words. It's easy to tell someone, I expect respect, but it's far more powerful to calmly walk away when you're not getting it. It's easy to say, I want consistency, but the real boundary is created when you lose interest in inconsistency instead of chasing it. People pay attention to how you live, not just what you say. If you allow someone to be inconsistent, they will assume it's acceptable. But if you remove your energy when their behavior falls below your standards, you show that you mean what you say without ever needing to argue about it. Setting boundaries doesn't have to be dramatic or angry. In fact, the most effective boundaries are quiet, calm, and firm. They're communicated through your actions, your emotional detachment, and your refusal to engage in unhealthy dynamics. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly. You don't need to convince someone to treat you better. A simple, this doesn't work for me, is enough. If someone cares about having you in their life, they will adjust. If they don't, they will drift away, and you will have made space for something healthier. It's normal to feel fear around setting boundaries, especially if you've been taught to prioritize others' feelings over your own. You might worry that you'll come off as mean or cold, but the truth is, setting boundaries is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for the people around you. Clear boundaries create trust. They create safety. They create relationships where both people know what is expected and both people feel respected. When you compromise your boundaries to keep someone around, you don't actually keep them. You just delay the inevitable disappointment. And you lose a piece of yourself in the process. When you set clear boundaries, you stop trying to manage someone else's behavior and start managing your own standards. You stop asking, how can I get him to treat me better? And you start asking, is this treatment acceptable to me? That small shift changes everything. It puts the focus back where it belongs, on your power your choices, your life. You realize you don't have that voice that says, I love myself enough to walk away from what hurts, and I trust that what's meant for me will never require me to compromise my soul. Setting boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about letting the right ones in. And when you do it with confidence and kindness, you don't just change your relationships, you change your life. When someone plays, let him go into a games with you. It's easy to slip into a mindset where everything becomes about them. You start asking yourself, why is he acting like this? What can I do to make him change? How can I get him to see what he's losing? But the truth is, the more you focus on him, the more you forget the most important thing, yourself. Prioritizing your own value is not just about knowing you deserve better. It's about living in a way that reflects that knowledge every single day, even when it's hard, even when your heart is involved, even when walking away feels like the last thing you want to do. When you prioritize your own value, you stop making someone else's inconsistent behavior a reflection of your worth. His confusion, his distance, his games, none of it defines you. It defines him. It tells you everything about where he's at emotionally, what he's capable of, and how he chooses to show up in relationships. When you tie your self-esteem to someone else's treatment of you, you give them power they were never meant to have. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's ability to recognize it. It's steady, it's constant, it's yours. One of the most powerful things you can do when you realize someone is playing games is to shift your focus inward. To instead of chasing answers from him, seek connection with yourself. What are your needs? What are your standards? What are your dreams outside of this relationship? It's easy to lose yourself when you're caught up in trying to win someone's attention or affection, but true power comes from remembering that your life is already full of purpose and beauty, with or without someone else's approval. Prioritizing your value also means being brutally honest about what you're tolerating. Are you accepting crumbs because you're afraid of being alone? Are you settling for confusion because it's easier than starting over? Are you making excuses for someone because facing the truth would hurt too much? These are hard questions, but they are the gateway to real change. When you truly believe in your own worth, you stop tolerating situations that make you feel small. You stop settling for half love. You stop negotiating your standards for the sake of keeping someone who isn't really showing up for you. Self-worth isn't just something you feel, it's something you practice. It's in the small daily decisions you make. It's in choosing not to text someone who leaves you feeling anxious. It's in choosing to spend time with people who celebrate you, not people who confuse you. It's in building a life that you love so much that someone would have to add real value to it in order to stay. When you make your own happiness the priority, you become less vulnerable to people who want to pull you into emotional games. You're no longer sitting around waiting for someone to pick you. You've already picked yourself. Part of prioritizing your value is also being patient. It's resisting the urge to fill the empty space with just anyone. It's knowing that it's better to be alone than to be with someone who plays with your heart. It's trusting that real connection isn't built on confusion or games. It's built on clarity, respect, and mutual effort. And sometimes that means enduring your season of loneliness instead of running back to what's familiar but unhealthy. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. When you live from a place of high self-worth, you naturally repel people who aren't serious. They sense that you won't play their games, and they either step up or step out, and either way you win. You also start attracting people who recognize and appreciate your value without needing to be convinced. People who respect your boundaries, who show up consistently, who see your worth without you having to spell it out for them. But none of that happens if you don't see it first. It all starts with you. No one else gets to decide your value. No guy's attention or lack of it should ever make you question your worth. You are not valuable because someone finally chooses you. You are valuable because you choose yourself every day, in every decision, in every moment. You refuse to settle. Prioritizing your own value means you live with the deep, unshakable belief that you deserve love that is clear, consistent, and kind, and that anyone who can't offer that simply isn't your person. When you treat yourself like the prize you are, you stop chasing people who treat you like an option. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself to anyone, and you realize that the right person will never make you question your value. They will only remind you of it.